Hey, what's going on? This is Tyler from Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and you're listening to the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily Show. Today is December 1st, 2023. We have finally made it to the last month of 2023. I hope 2023 has been great for you guys. I am sure there has been some ups and downs, but at the end of the day, you made it. Here we are. We're in the very last month. So some of the goals and stuff that you had, you may not have hit those goals, or some of the things you wanted to do, you haven't hit those just yet. There is still time in 2023 to accomplish some of those things. And better yet, you understand that 2024, you can make some adjustments. You can sort of assess where you were at and sort of realign yourself and make those adjustments to your goals and go attack those goals in 2024. And I'm not just talking about softball, I'm talking about life in general. So with me, 2023 started off a little bit rough. Many of you know I lost my mom January 1st of this year, and it changed who I was. It changed every aspect of my being. Not having my mom around to pick up that phone and call her, to go see her, to shoot a text, or to share something with. And I'm talking, I see something silly on social media that I wanted to share to her, or if I see something on TV or talking about the news or something like that, I just don't have that conversation with her anymore. So that definitely impacted me. It hurts. It still hurts. I talk about her. I think about her all the time. The office that I work out of, she never saw. I was building this when she got sick back in about November, December timeframe of last year. I was actually running a bead of caulking, and I got the phone call that I needed to get to the hospital. So this year definitely wasn't how I had it planned at all. I was able to meet some great people, start some great relationships and friendships with people. I was able to kind of reassess who I was as a person and what I wanted to do in life. Black Diamond Softball and Fitness grew. We created a YouTube channel that took off. I think we're close to 18,000 subscribers. We're going to revamp that. Actually, that channel is going to go away at the beginning of 2024. So all that content, all that information, all that stuff is going to be over on the Foul Pole to Foul Pole channel on YouTube. Speaking of Foul Pole to Foul Pole, we cranked out a brand new, or we started to crank out a brand new version of the podcast. We had some guests that were great, shared a lot of great information. We're going to continue to do that in 2024. I'm going to continue to pump out the daily show, just whatever pops into my head that I want to get out there, some information that I want to pass, some information that I learned, whatever the case may be. I just want to get it out there. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no set agenda with this podcast. There's really, there's no formula for this. It's just me spreading the word, passing the word. And again, I'm not an expert on this stuff. I do my research and I try to pass as much accurate information as I can. And I also try to give my opinion on things. And at the end of the day, there's a bunch of podcasts out there. There's a lot of us that are doing this stuff. And we're not against each other. I'm not trying to run down any other podcast. There's no podcast out there that's trying to run me down. We're all in this thing together. We're just trying to spread the word, as much information as we can. I do talk a little bit more about recruiting than anything else, just because there's really no set way. If you do this and you do that, you're going to go where you want to go. There's a formula to helping you run your race and follow your journey to that next level. It may not be exactly what you thought it was, but there are different things that you can do that open up opportunities and open doors for you. And I do like to pass that information on. Softball is a great sport, and 2023 is a big year for softball, big year for Black Diamond, big year for Foul Pole to Foul Pole. And I'm looking forward to 2024. Hopefully 24 doesn't start off like 2023 did, where it took me a couple of months to get back up on the beam after I lost my mom. So with that said, man, I do want to kind of get into a little bit lighter topic instead of talking about the passing of my mom. I appreciate all you guys for the well wishes through this year and understanding, that the impact that it's had on me. But I I do want to get into the transfer portal a little bit, and because there's not a whole lot going on right now in the transfer portal as far as softball is concerned. But there's been a lot of moving and a lot of shaking, a lot of big time names that transfer. And I kind of want to give some insight to that and give some understanding, because on the outside, you just see, well, this girl committed to X, and now she's leaving. She's in the transfer portal, and now she's at Z. And there's so many different reasons why kids are transferring. And unless you're dialed in and you're in that situation, you're a part of that situation, you are a guidance counselor, coach, a family member, a significant other, unless you have the ins and outs on the situation, it's just not wise to speak on it. I mean, you can have your opinion on it. Well, she shouldn't be leaving because her playing time. We hear that a lot. That's why girls transfer, why players transfer. Doesn't matter what sport it's in. We always equate it to playing time. Well, she's not playing. She got beat out, so she's transferring to go somewhere else. That's not the case. There are a lot of reasons why athletes transfer. And, NCAA allows coaches to sign these huge contracts, these 8-year, 10-year deals, 4-year deals or whatever. And then all of a sudden they can resign and go somewhere else with really no penalty, really no penalty. So, on the outside, you're looking at it like, well, if a coach can transfer with no penalty, why can't a college athlete transfer without penalty? And transferring schools has been around for quite some time, but the actual transfer portal itself hasn't been around that long. The actual current makeup that is what we call the transfer portal. Believe it or not, it's only been around for about 5 years. At the end of the day, what we know, what we call, when we talk about kids transferring, we talk about the transfer portal. It came about back in October of 2018. And it's more or less a compliance tool that the public isn't necessarily privy to, who all is in there, what sort of the paperwork and the logistics that go on behind the scenes. We kind of find out about it unless somebody announces it, like, hey, I'm entering the transfer portal, or they release it to the media and then the media can run with it. But say I go right now, I'm at Florida and I want to enter the transfer portal. It's not public information. Like you can't go down and pull a roster and say who's in the portal and who's not, or who's thinking about the portal. It's just not public information unless they want it to be a public thing. So, football is probably the one that gets the most noise when they talk about transferring. It could be a quarterback, just like yesterday, DJ Uiagalelei from Oregon State, who had transferred from Clemson, has announced that he's entering the transfer portal again. There's a lot of big time names, and football is popular. Everybody talks about football. You're doing Super Bowl squares, or whatever you're doing. It's just a popular sport. I mean, they really cram it down our throat on TV or social media or wherever. But anyway, speaking just on the transfer portal as it pertains to softball, it hasn't been around that long. We hear more about it when big names move, like a Jordy Ball. And of course, Jordy leaves Oklahoma after a national championship, goes back home to Nebraska. And so she's there now. So everybody talks about, why did she leave? What's the deal? What's going on? Is there something going on with her and Patty Gasso? Is she, were they bringing in some other recruit that was going to take mound time from her? So what's the situation? And there's all this speculation and stuff like that. But honestly, you can look at Jordy's social media, and she's pretty candid. She wanted to be closer to home. She wanted to be back in her home state. She wanted to go play for the Cornhuskers, and that's why she did it. Now, whatever her truth is, she either does or doesn't have to tell you, and it doesn't matter to her. Like, if she feels like she needs to tell you, then she'll tell you why. If she doesn't feel like she needs to tell you, then she's not going to tell you the exact reason why. She might tell you something that just appeases that situation at that moment, in the moment in time, and then boom, we're done, and we leave on from it. So, talking a little bit about the transfer portal, I guess the question is, how do you get in and get out of the transfer portal? Athletes themselves don't necessarily have access to the portal. So if they want to transfer from one program, they have to give a written notice to the school administration to do it for them. They can't. There's nobody. There's a system in place. And the school has about 48 hours. I think I'm pretty sure the rule is about 48 hours to, after that written notice is given, is to put them in that transfer portal. Once their name is officially in that portal, meaning coaches will receive notice via email that they're in there. It's coaches, it's staff, it's from other schools that may be interested in that player can now, begin to contact that player, or that player themselves can directly contact different schools. And it's sort of like a free agency in professional sports, where you can court different players, and schools can figure out who all's in the portal, or whatever, reach out, however they do it. Of course, the NCAA's got their rules, man. But that's how it goes about. It's not like a player just goes in and goes to a website and puts their information in and says, boom, I'm in the portal now. It doesn't really work like that. So you got a bunch of highly coveted transfers that are out there on the market. And of course, it's almost like getting back into the recruiting thing. It's almost like a fight to get these players on their campuses for a visit, or to figure out their scholarship, to figure out money. And that, it's almost like a second layer to the recruiting aspect of it, because if you have a player that is well accomplished or proven in college ball, now they want to transfer. Well, they may be wanting to transfer to a school that is looking at a couple of different high school players, or a couple of different JUCO players that are be moving up to be on that roster next year. So it has a ripple effect, and it does change. So the longer they stay in the portal, chances are there's something else going on behind that, and they haven't found their fit, or a school doesn't necessarily like them, and then that has a sort of an effect on when seniors are signing, signing their national letters of intent. It doesn't necessarily have a huge impact on the juniors that are verbally committing, because a verbal is a verbal, and of course there's some paperwork involved in that, but you haven't signed scholarships, you haven't signed different things, so you can change your commitment. It doesn't look good, but there's really no pen to paper there. But once a player enters that portal, they exit that portal once they have found their right fit and they have signed with a different program. And at that point, they can join that roster. And then, of course, that is determined by the school and the administration and the coaching staff and the athletic director and that kind of stuff, exactly how each school goes about doing that. When is a transfer portal open and closed? When do you hear about it? When can it be done? When does it have an effect? With spring being with softball being a spring sport, there's two times a year really that you'll hear most about the transfers and the portals and stuff like that. So the winter portal is the first 2 weeks of December. You don't really see a whole bunch of action during this time, because they've already had their fall season. They've already pretty much solidified their roster for the spring during this fall season. There is a separate window. It's usually 45 days. I'm pretty sure it's 45 days. And that opens up after the championship tournaments have been solidified. Like these teams here are the teams that are in the NCAA tournament bracket. And then there's 45 days. So the open dates for players that can actually enter the portal, you can pretty much enter at any time. It's a difference between graduate transfers and the athletes that haven't graduated yet. Graduate transfers are something completely different when we're talking about the transfer, or at least in this in this context that I'm talking about. You got those ones that want to end up going back. So they go out and they test the market a little bit and say, hey, I'm going to transfer. And then something changes. They have second thoughts. A new coach comes in or something and they end up wanting to go back. So there's always that question, like, can they return to the previous school after they entered the transfer portal? Yeah. I mean, for players who choose to enter the portal, but instead of opt to return to their previous programs, they're allowed to do so. But it gets really complicated at that point because the schools are required to honor players on scholarship with financial aid through the end of the academic term, going on at the time that they entered the portal. But anything after that is fair game. So with now that scholarship, once they entered that portal, that scholarship opens up. So coaches may go ahead and fill that spot. They can, like, you leave and then boom, they bring somebody in right there. So there's no guarantee that financial aid that you had going in, or that scholarship money or whatever, is going to be there. We can get into loyalty and that kind of thing too. You bounce and leave, that coach doesn't have any loyalty to you. You left for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, who knows? The most notable thing, it's almost like sort of with the transfer portal. It's a one-time transfer rule. It allows players who wish to transfer the ability to move school once for any reason without missing a season. And now that has changed. It used to be where if you transferred, you had to sit out the next year. You weren't eligible. That's kind of gone by the wayside, and there are different ways around that. Lawyers have gotten involved, and the academic processes are involved with, as long as they're a student, and different things. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds on that because I don't understand all the litigation with that. But just understand that this thing, transferring isn't new, but the current makeup of the transfer portal is something that's new. So they can sort of have some guidelines. They can sort of have some rules and regulations so they can kind of slow it down, because there's a trickle-down effect that comes with it. So understanding that the transfer portal isn't something that is an actual solid object, if you would. Like, it's not something that is cut and dry. Everybody's transfer portal experience is the same. It's like they don't go in and say, hey, I want to transfer, now I'm out here, and they're talking to these different schools, and boom, they go, and there's no trickle-down effect. Man, every transfer has a trickle-down effect. Right now, there are freshmen and sophomores that are in high school that, by the butterfly effect, are affected by freshmen and sophomores in college that have elected to transfer. And they may have to transfer that due to a reason that is way beyond out of their control. One of the main reasons that you'll see people transfer is a coach will get fired or a coach will resign and they leave. And that player that was there that wants to transfer was like their bread and butter player. Well, now they're bringing in somebody else, and that coach has a different philosophy, has a different mentality, has a different way of things. And that kid no longer wants to be involved at that program because they don't like that coach or don't whatever. And they want to transfer. So now with the transfer portal, it has given these athletes a say in, hey, I don't necessarily have to be here if I don't want to be here. I did want to be here when the situation was like this. Well, outside of my control, the situation has changed. I don't have to put myself through this if I don't want to. So there is a means for them to have a little bit of control, a little bit of say in their lives. And I think that's a good thing. Is the transfer portal abused at times? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are teams out there that will abuse it. There's universities, there are colleges, there are institutions that will abuse the transfer portal, and they will get around it. They will find loopholes. They will do everything they can to win a national title because how much money is involved with national championships. It doesn't matter the sport. If a team, if a school, institution wins a national championship, there's a lot of good stuff that comes with that. So they will pull out every stop that they can to get any type of player that they want in there to win that. There's no loyalty when it comes to NCAA sports anymore. So this transfer portal, yeah, they have to have it. They have to do it because you have to give these athletes an opportunity to do what's best for them. But at the same time, they don't have to let it be just run amok. So with that being said, if there's questions and stuff like that that are about the transfer portal, that I didn't cover, shoot me a message, leave me a comment, something. Let's talk about this transfer portal. I want to learn more about it. Pretty much what I hit on was the nuts and bolts of the transfer portal. I don't understand every aspect of it because I've never been in it. I've never had a child in it. I've never had one of my athletes into the transfer portal. So the little nuances and the little things that are with that, I don't understand every bit of it, and I want to learn more. So if you have a question that I didn't cover, I want to find out that answer. So let me know if you like that type of stuff, and I will do the best I can to find it for you. Share this with a friend. Maybe, you guys have had that conversation about the transfer portal, and it's like, hey, okay, this dude broke it down and he gave us, some clarification on that. That's why I'm here. That's why I do this, just to kind of spark a conversation between you and myself, or you and a friend, or somebody like that. So find your friend, make sure you share it with them. And when you do, you tell them you love them.